I suppose for me, Aidan, when you're starting up as a magician, or even if you're an established magician and entertainer, you've been doing it for a while, and then you come to the point where you think, you know what, I would really love to put on a public show and get a bunch of people there and start actually doing something like theatrical, like a big thing. I think the question on everyone's mind is, it sounds great, but how do I actually get people in? How do I start selling tickets to my stage show, for example? How do I actually fill the room and make this thing work? Well, in today's episode, what are we going to be talking about, my friend?
Well, I think we're going to talk about like some psychological hacks that we can use to start selling more of the tickets to those type of shows. I think it's a really interesting concept, and we've spoken a lot about getting private bookings and stuff, but we've kind of shied away from stage shows recently. And I think one of the interesting times of year that we're in right now, the quarter one of the year, January, February, March, tends to be a bit quieter traditionally for a lot of entertainers. Just the gigs aren't there supposedly, and because it's just following the December seasonal rush, and now people don't have money, people aren't doing gigs. What do we do instead? And now is a really great time to just do your own show, put on your own show. But then again, that comes with all of its questions of like, oh my god, how do I actually sell the tickets to that show? Is it as easy as putting something out online saying I'm doing a show, send me your details and give me money? No, it's not. But there are some little psychological hacks and nuances that we can use to sell more of those seats. Some of these we have used ourselves. Some of these we are going to be using ourselves. Some of these are a little bit, I don't want to say unorthodox, but that's kind of the word that we're going for here. It's a bit different to the norm, and goes against the grain of what people might traditionally expect. So, let's just jump straight in. I think the first thing that we need to talk about first of all is if we're going to sell more tickets to our show, we need to know how much those tickets are worth, right? Like, what is the actual price of those tickets? Because that's going to do a really big... that in and of itself is going to do a big job of actually getting people buying and showing up to the show. Again, Ashley, I think you've probably got some thoughts on this in terms of why cheaper isn't always best.
Cheaper isn't always best. And on that, like, here's the thing which we have to bear in mind. I suppose when you start up, when you've been doing magic for a while, even if you haven't, and you want to get into stage shows, one of the first thoughts you can be having is, if I just want to get people in and just tick this over so that I can just get some really good photos for use for marketing for my next event, I just want to make a little bit of cash, I just want to test the waters. But ultimately your main goal is to just fill that theatre or venue, whatever it is. Most people think charging a small amount is good. However, I have seen firsthand entertainers charging not a lot for tickets, £10, £15 for a ticket, and they've sold a lot of them. I've seen entertainers just pack out, and I'm talking about like a small parlour show they were doing here. They sold out about 20 tickets for the venue, which is good if you're doing those small shows and it's in a really confined space. But on the day, I won't name them for obvious reasons, the entertainer had a big problem in which only 4 people turned up, 2 of which were magicians. I think it was 5 people, 3 of which were magicians that were actually friends of the performer anyway. And the reason behind this is, if your tickets are too low in price, it means that on the day, if people have something more exciting coming up, if people have other plans coming up, there's other things that might get in the way, it's far too easy for these people to say, no, I don't want to attend. And I know now this might seem strange for you, the listener, to really kind of understand that, because you're probably thinking, well, they've paid for a ticket, they clearly want to come. But in your audience's perspective, and I've seen it firsthand, life does sometimes get in the way. And if you are charging peanuts, you make it very, very easy for your audience to literally just not turn up. They could say, oh, you know what, I really need to take my mum out for dinner. It was only a tenner. It's not that much. I can ignore that.
Well, it's true. It's one of those things of you pay attention to what you pay for, and if you're paying a couple of quid, and again, £10 in the UK seems to be a common average. Not everybody does that. Some people do a lot more. Some people do a lot less. Surprisingly, with that intention of, I'm going to do it so I can sell out and get people in there. But again, the show up rates are significantly decreased. It might not be the case that somebody's family or something personally comes up, nothing might come up for them on the day of the show or the evening of the show. They might just decide, I can't be bothered, and as a result, people prefer ease and the more attractive offer of two rather than actually going away. That's why we get all this whole thing of like buyer's remorse. When you buy a thing, an item, a project, or whatever it might be, and then you just kind of regret buying it because you weren't really that invested. When you're paying, say, £100 for no different an experience that isn't any different to what you might consider charging £10 for, I reckon you get a lot more people showing up. And what's important to note is that we're not saying go and charge £100 per seat at your shows, but just bear in mind that the pricing will have an effect in terms of show up rate and actual selling rate. Because if at the end of the day, if you see a show that's going out for like 40 quid a ticket, it must be a good show, right? It must be a good show. But if you see it for a fiver or a tenner, it doesn't, like, the value in the client's mind is a little bit different, and that's because we don't think logically when it comes down to these kind of purchases.
Well, pricing, I think, is one of those things where, like you said, it really does give people an idea of what to expect. It gives people like that, well, this must be good. They've got an expectation. If they're paying £85, £90, £150, £300 for a ticket, they really think, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing, and it builds that excitement. But we can take this idea and actually take it out of magic and take it out of shows to give you guys a deeper understanding. I remember we was at the Blackpool Magic Convention, Aidan, a few years back, and we was chatting to a mentalist by the name of Fraser Parker. He said a friend of his, he listed a laptop online for X amount, and it didn't sell. So he took it down and he relisted it for a higher amount, and then it sold immediately. Why was that? Because people were obviously looking at it thinking, oh, this is a good laptop, I'll buy that, as opposed to the cheaper one where they're naturally thinking, oh, maybe there's something wrong with it. We've also seen firsthand from ourselves for own things that we're selling, that when we do it for very, very cheap or free, well, attendance rates are really low. Attendance, and I think you won't mind me saying, we used to run these free events, biohacking. We used to put on a lecture every single week, and we'd say, you know what, this is to improve your health. We want to do this for free just so we can help you guys. But because it was free, the expectation on the other end, in which case your end, the listener, the podcast listener, was the fact that, oh, it's just a free thing, I don't really need to attend it. But as soon as you whack a price on there, people are now much more invested because they're actually paying in. And you're stopping, you're doing another thing, I think, by pricing, something we talk about behind the scenes, but I don't think we've ever spoken about on the podcast, Aidan. You're kind of qualifying your audience. You're making sure that they are right. They're the right people for actually attending these shows, for example.
Yeah, it is a lot of that as well, actually making sure that the right people are showing up, not just any old person. I mean, yes, everybody can love magic. Everyone can go and experience a great magic or mentalism show or whatever type of show you do, but not everyone is going to treat it the same and respect it the same way, and not everyone's going to have that level of commitment to you and what it is that you do. So actually paying attention to the pricing, again, we've spoken about a couple of different things, but the other thing it does is actually associated with demand. For example, if you've got high ticket prices, well, yes, theoretically, less people... For example, let's say you're running a show for... It's a 30-seater. 30 seats. Again, fairly manageable. Not too big, not too small. 30 seats there. And they're priced at £10 each. Well, selling 30 seats at £10 is probably doable, right? You could definitely go out there and do it. But selling those 30 seats at £100 a hit, well, the demand has gone significantly, in this case, sort of downhill, in that, oh my God, 30 people, £100 a ticket, that becomes a lot harder. It becomes a lot harder to actually shift. And this kind of moves us into the second point to bear in mind here. So hack number one is tactical pricing. Again, we can't tell you exactly what to price, just pay attention to that. Tactical pricing and not pricing too low, which is just going to jeopardize your shows. Actually put a good price on it from the start. And again, actually, perhaps increasing your prices there ties into point number two, which is scarcity. Okay, so scarcity is a really, really great one. And in in the world of a stage show or a performance, a ticketed performance, one of the most common routes for scarcity is just less tickets available. If you do less tickets with a higher price, well, the demand suddenly become like surge sky high. For example, rather than doing 30 seats at £10, well, what if you do 6 at £50 or £100? Suddenly the demand for those is much higher because it's a limited experience, it's a private experience. The price there dictates that there's a significant level of value, presumably. And as a result, your scarcity, traditional scarcity marketing there it's actually helping people get people into the doors and paying attention to what it is that you actually do.
You know, this is actually something which we've spoken about again fairly recently. I know in a couple of months' time I'm going to be doing kind of an experience evening, kind of a stage show, but with some other stuff as well, like meals included, extra other weird bits. I won't go into that because that's probably too in-depth and is definitely a podcast for another time. But it's the same thing. Imagine I'm doing a stage show, but the tickets for that I'm going to be pricing at £95, and the venue in question has an audience of about 20, and I was planning on just putting the full 20 tickets up. And then we had a chat about this, and you actually said that you're planning to do a stage show, Aidan, where you was literally just going to put 5 tickets on sale, which I'd love to touch on in a second to really understand this a little bit deeper. And I started thinking about that, and now I'm going to go from the angle of just putting a few tickets on sale, and then if need be, if we sell out, I can always extend the amount of tickets by adding a few more for some extra people. But that way, it means that if people are coming and they see the event, they're not going to go, oh, there's 20 tickets available, I've got plenty of time to book. They go, wow, there's 6 tickets available, there's 3 of us that want to go, well, I better book now. And you just get people tipping over the line because it really is that scarcity. You think if you're going to buy something from a shop, for example, and you want a pair of I don't know, a magic trick, you want to buy a brand new magic DVD, and you just see, yeah, latest magic DVD's out, oh, I can buy that whenever. But if they said on there, there's literally only 10 available, you're probably going to buy it now because you know other people are going to beat you to it. And it's the same thing we can do here with tickets. But I want to bring this back to the conversation we had about your stage show, where you specifically said, yeah, I could pack it full of loads more people, but I'm just going to do 5.
Yeah, I mean, to give scarcity another angle, again, outside of magic, you gave a great example of like a magic trick, but take a look at the early stage of the pandemic, where pretty much it was all over the news that people were stockpiling like toilet roll and just random seemingly objects. And when you'd go into a shop, again, like I know for and this is my personal experience here, I had no need for loads of toilet roll, but I'd seen that it was a thing globally. So I didn't buy loads, I didn't stockpile, but when I went in to go and buy some, I bought an extra pack. Just because of the scarcity of like, oh, I might not be able to get any more soon.
Naughty man, you are the person. I hate you.
It's ridiculous, but it's a really great example of the scarcity. Like, it was on national news that the places were running out of toilet roll because people were stockpiling it and buying dozens of packs of this stuff. But that still helped actually get rid of the stock that they had. It meant that I know some people that actually work in a local Tesco supermarket. They were literally emptying the shelves before they could finish filling them. It was ridiculous. But again, that's again out of context, that whole level of scarcity that's going on. We don't have many of these. But stage shows and tickets, this is really interesting. And this isn't just a one-off show. And I think this is important to note. I'm trialling an approach that's basically going to drip feed over the course of 3 months. There's 4 shows over the course of 3 months. And the first show is not designed to fill it out and be like, that's amazing, yes, thanks to the 30 people that showed up, I'm ready for the next month. Because at the end of the day, as you said, if people are on the fence about it and they see there's 30 tickets available, 23 tickets available, 19 tickets available, 7 tickets available, it's sold out, well, we can always wait till the next one. You have no or little to no demand for the next show because, again, it wasn't really a special thing. So what I'm doing personally, again, I can't say whether this is an amazing idea, whether it works amazingly or not. But yeah, my plan isn't to go and fill the venue with all 30 people. My plan is it'll be a show for 10 to 15 people, of which 5 to 10 will have been invited by me, and the rest 5 or 6 will be put as ticketed, actual ticket traditionally sort of higher price than normal. And that way, I'm only ever selling sort of 6 tickets. I've got a load of past clients or upcoming clients actually coming into the show. But it means that the demand from the wider audience is there, because I know that I could go ahead with my audience and probably get 20 to 30 seats relatively straightforwardly. But I don't want that, because it means that when I do my next show, most of the people will have shown up and there'll be no buzz about coming to see the performance. There's no demand there. And then the 2 shows in the month after that, well, that becomes a lot harder. Again, by restricting the ticket numbers in this case to there's only 6 available, or there's only 10 available out of a potential 30. Well, it puts it in a really beautiful position where the demand is naturally going to be higher and it creates that buzz.
And when you start working with lower numbers of tickets and doing this, obviously you've got a reason to have it at a higher price because there's more exclusivity around the event, and it's like more of a close-knit personal evening, so that's another thing. But also you've got the ability to follow up with people without being salesy, because you've got a low number of tickets. If you've messaged someone on your mailing list, if you've done a personal outreach, if you've hopped on the phone to someone, whatever that outreach there is, because there's only a few tickets remaining, because by the way, there's only 6. Literally, there's a few more tickets sold. Say, Sarah, I know you was interested. Just want to let you know there's 1 ticket remaining. You're not being salesy. You're literally just messaging them or phoning them or whatever it is, whatever that communication channel is. But you're literally just saying, look, I know you was interested and I want to let you know before they're gone because there's literally 1 left, for example. And it gives you that reason to follow up nicely with someone, as opposed to saying, hey, I just want to check if you're still coming to the show. We've got a bunch of tickets remaining. It doesn't really give you an excuse to follow up as effectively, I think, in my opinion.
No, I think so too. I think you're actually in that situation when you're saying that there's only 1 or 2 available, there's only a really small number available. You're actually doing them a favour by following up. They said that they were interested. For example, you put a post out there on social media that says, hey, I'm doing a show on this date. Would you be interested? Or do you want me to send you the ticket link, or whatever the case may be? You throw that post out there and a bunch of people comment and say, oh my God, yes, please, that would be amazing. Or they tag some friends or whatever the case may be. If you then don't follow up with those people, well, you're missing out on ticket sales there and then. But if you do follow up with those people, you're doing it because they have asked you, not the other way around. It's like they've put their hands up and said, look, I would like the link. Please make sure I get that link because I am interested in buying a ticket and coming to the show. Again, a lot can go behind the scenes on that approach, but actually leveraging that scarcity is really great. And for anybody who's interested in terms of the how to actually put that out there, because I think a few people might have heard earlier on said, oh, you're only putting 6 tickets. Well, isn't it going to be weird if 10 to 15 people actually show up and there was only ever 6 sold? The way I'm running that, it sounds a bit weird, but the way I'm running that is that the ticket page will be available for either the 10, 50, however many. I think it's going to be 10 for the first show. And I'm going to send a discount link to the past clients who have said that they are interested, or specific people or potential clients that have said that they are interested, give them a personalized discount code so that they can then go and buy it before the show the tickets become widely available. So they get a pre-sale, they get a secret pre-sale benefit there too, which is particularly nice. And there's something that another type of scarcity that we haven't spoken about just yet, and that's actually the type of tickets that you're selling. So again, you can sell 6 regular tickets, and that's great. But let's say you've got 6 regular tickets and 3 VIP tickets available. And the VIP ticket, for example, comes with drinks catered for the entire evening. You've got, I don't know, snacks, a meet and greet, and I don't know, you pick depending on what it is that you want there. But you've got these special VIP tickets available, and there's only 3 of them left. Naturally, if you're going to be more inclined to at least pay attention to those or jump on board because there's, oh my God, there was only 3 left. There was 10 and now there's 3. It's just something to play with, what different types of tickets that you've got going on, whether that's just a regular ticket, a VIP ticket, or maybe even an early bird ticket, like a ticket specially for a select audience before the official tickets go live. Maybe that's something. Or before ticket prices go up again, which kind of ties into the next point of more urgency, than scarcity as well.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on that?
Well, no, I just think that, this boiling down to urgency, which again you're going to cover in a second, is a really crucial thing which not a lot of entertainers really capitalise on. So many people put on shows and they just list it. We've already slated this in the past by just putting a website up and leaving it, but I'm going to repeat it here because I love to do that and annoy many magicians. Most people just list their tickets on a website and leave it, and then we'll make a couple of Facebook posts, Instagram posts, and hope it sells. And in reality, it's not as effective. And if you are doing the outreach as well, if you are doing the appropriate strategies we've mentioned, if you have got your mailing list set up, you are effectively networking, you are spreading this properly, by putting urgency involved, like we've mentioned today, is just enough to tip people over the line. And I think early bird tickets, regular tickets, and VIP tickets are really something exciting we can play with. I know I've tried this in the past with online shows, and just by having those VIP tickets there, it gives those loyal super fans, well, first of all, gives you a way of identifying which people are clearly your super fans, because they're the people you should probably spend most time to and see if they want to actually privately book you, at least in my situation that was. But it's also a nice way of just making a bit of extra cash, and if they want to have a fantastic full blast evening, they can. There's an option for those people that do want to do that. And also the cash, but I've already mentioned that one. The cash is pretty nice, I'm not going to lie.
Well, this is one of those things at the end of the day. It's if we and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I like to treat my shows, and I encourage that you do this, whether you follow these principles or not. I recommend that you do, because you will sell more tickets and keep that higher price for a longer time, which I'll come back to in a second. But I like to treat my shows as if it wasn't the magic and mystery show. I don't treat it as a show at all. I treat it as an experience. Replace the word show with an experience, and then deliver that promise, because it feels much better. And you said it there, Ashley, in terms of the evening experience. Like, if everybody wants a full experience, well, again, if you're looking at things like VIP tickets, what are the things that add to that experience? Not just crap that you can add on top just because you can and then justify charging a higher ticket price. What is the stuff that's actually going to add to their experience? For example, if on a VIP ticket, well, let's say there's 5 VIP tickets out of 50 regular seats, the scarcity is pretty much stacked in your favour already. But in that case, those 5 VIP tickets, if you get one of those, you've got your drinks for the entire evening. Well, realistically, because of the show where it is, I'd be buying a drink anyway at the start of the show, maybe 2 before the show if I'm there early, 1 during the interval, maybe 1 or 2, or maybe even more afterwards, depending on if well, actually, it now seems like the value exchange is worth it. But again, that all comes down to actually adding tactical value and strategic value in a way that people want.
Which, if you are interested in this, there's a fantastic podcast episode we recorded with a fabulous Jason Mark Campbell, which is well worth listening back to. In that, he actually gave this exact example. It's like, if you're charging £100, £200 for your gigs right now, what would you need to do to make that £1,000, £2,000, £3,000? And he took us through a fantastic exercise. So well worth listening back to that episode with Jason Mark Campbell on Selling with Love. If you haven't already listened to that, well worth checking out.
It might actually be at the URL thesuccessfulmentalist.com/sell with love. That's all one word.
When you're editing, link it in the comments for all of these wonderful people that are listening.
Fantastic. So again, yeah, we're talking urgency right now. Let's move to talk about that a little bit more, because there's 2 real types of urgency that we don't use as effectively as we could. Now, urgency, well, what actually is that? Well, that's like increasing the most common version is time urgency, and that's quite simply, oh yeah, the show is happening tomorrow, get your ticket now before tomorrow. Before the show, or the show is in 6 hours, we've got 2 tickets remaining, did you want to come along? At that point, the time urgency is really important, and that's basically saying there is X amount of time left until the show happens, the tickets expire, the early bird ticket link disappears, the price goes up, the whatever the ticket price might be. I know something that worked particularly effective for me in the past was I did early bird tickets at a discounted price until the tickets went officially on sale. And again, you've got 2 types of time urgency there. You've got, oh my god, everybody's going to get access, whereas I've got private access to these tickets now. And also the urgency of the prices going up, which is again that kind of touches on touches more on the other type of urgency of like personal urgency or price urgency there, because there is a personal drive for them to buy now rather than waiting until an hour before the show, which is something that's worth considering if you've never toyed with increasing prices up until the time of your show. I think that's something that a lot of listeners will get a benefit out of, whether that is early bird before the official tickets go live, or whether that's just over the course. If say you've got a 30-day promotion for this one particular show, every 10 days the price of the tickets goes up or something. Again, it's up to you to test and present that, but I think it's really worth exploring actually that, and then making it clear for people, because then the urgency is there of personal urgency of, I need to act now because the ticket price is going up in 3 days, or oh my god, I need to act now because the show is in 3 days. Actually leveraging urgency is a really good one.
Yeah. I think all you've got to really do as an entertainer is take a look outside of magic and start looking at maybe, for example, like big businesses, for example, like the big multi-million-dollar businesses of the world. Look at Apple, Argos, other retail stores and non-retail stores, and actually look at how they shift. Maybe their private events that they're selling. I'm not saying Argos does events, that'd be weird for those non-UK people. Have a Google. It would be incredibly weird if they started doing events. But how they actually shift products, shift events, shift the things that they're selling, and look at some of the tactics that they're using, because these big businesses out there don't just list something and then it's just like, it's available, go buy. There's a process to build excitement and get people to think, oh my gosh, I need to buy it now, whether that is that personal price urgency, whether there's some sort of time urgency there, whether there's like a special offer or something like that. I remember, for example, literally, I'm going to bring it back to Argos, Aidan. I wanted to buy a train set when I was younger from Argos, and if I bought it within a certain time, I got a free model bridge, and that tipped me over the line to buy a train set at a certain time from Argos because no other shop was selling it with a model bridge. Now, I'm not saying you should go out there and sell tickets to your magic shows and promise everyone a model bridge. If you do and it works, let me know. I'll give you a personal high five. Fantastic for that. But you get the point here. You're just trying to drum up that urgency. And as well, we've mentioned this before on actually limited tickets, when there's that excitement like, oh my gosh, I'd better go now. And surely this is what this whole podcast has been about. It's not enough just to list a ticket. It's not enough just to say, hey, I'm doing a show, does anyone want to come? It's about thinking, okay, I'm going to do a show, I want people to come along. How am I going to tip them over the line? How am I going to get people excited? How am I going to get people buying now? And thinking of strategies that you can put in place to do with the number of tickets, to do with the price of the tickets, to do with VIP tickets, early birds, etc., 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 everything we've mentioned in this episode.
Exactly. And I think there's two other things that I just want to bring into play now, because when you're playing with for example limited numbers or whatever software or system that you use, you can follow up immediately with people. Now that can be, you see the notification that a ticket has come through, great, drop them an email, send them a voice note on the platform that you're talking to them on, or give them a phone call, whatever that might be. You can immediately follow up directly, as in me to you, like a direct, you buy a ticket, I then reach out to you. Or you can also do something interesting as well. Now, a lot of ticket portals and providers will allow you to have a thank you page, basically a page that says, well done, you've bought your tickets. Really leverage that, because that's the only time that you're going to have 100% of your ticket buyers' attention. Everybody will see that page and read that page, just because there's no other way around it. They buy a ticket. After that, sure, they can come onto your email list, but not everyone's going to read all of your emails. They can follow you on social media, but not everyone's going to see all of your posts, and it's just the way the platform is. So you can use that one thank you page and just capitalize on that, whether that's you want to sell more tickets, for example. Why not add a button there that says you can invite your click here to share it on social media, to invite more of your friends, or send it to a friend, and it's a copy and paste link to a messenger chat with friends, or whatever the case may be. I trying to give some different examples here, but use a thank you page or whatever happens after they buy their tickets can be really, really important. If you're following up immediately to either sell more tickets, to upgrade them to VIP tickets, there's a large chance to upgrade to VIP. Whatever the case may be, if you're interested in that kind of approach, I highly recommend doing that. And the one thing that encompasses all of this, I just tried to fix my camera and it didn't work. There we go. The one thing that encompasses all of this is honesty. Right? It's honesty. Because at the end of the day, we've all seen bad marketers out there do it where they try and do the scarcity of only 5 tickets remaining. And the truth is, I know Ashley mentioned, like, oh, maybe I can add a few more tickets afterwards. I wouldn't do that. If I'm perfectly honest, I wouldn't add in a few. If you've got the demand, that's great, because that can topple over to the next show and help you start selling your later shows even faster. I see it like a game, if you like. If like a dominoes game, every time you push that first domino, it can knock over a slightly bigger domino and a slightly bigger domino and a bigger domino and a bigger domino, until in however many months' time, years' time, whatever the case may be, you might be able to sell out a full theatre using nothing more than a few small limited seat shows that you fully honest about. Like, I've only got 3 tickets, I can't add any more. It would be unfair to the other people that have already bought a ticket. It would be unfair to the people, I can't upgrade you to a VIP because there was only 4 or 5 of those available and they've all sold, unfortunately. Again, be honest with the tactics that you're using. If you're using scarcity, really have a fixed number of seats or a fixed number of tickets or a fixed amount of time for them to buy it, with the urgency as well. With your price, like if somebody says, oh, I can't quite afford XYZ price right now, that unfortunately, I don't think you should be dropping the price just to get the people in the door. Again, honesty is a complete and important thing, and that goes from all angles, whether it's the marketing, the conversations you're having, the promotions, any part of it. So long as you're fully honest and fully transparent, it's only worked benefits for us and the shows that we've been doing. So
yeah, I think honesty works across all areas of life and business as well. If you're not an honest person, I think you're going to push people off and push them away out of your world, and that's the quickest way to not booking gigs, ultimately. But no, I think these are some really interesting thoughts on how to actually shift tickets and how to make this work. And one which really, really stuck out to me is probably the most controversial one on doing these very small scale shows. Like, there's probably people listening now thinking, a show for 6 people? But how exclusive is that? And it gives you a real opportunity to network with these people afterwards, because I know we're avid fans of actually using these shows to get gigs off the back of. Especially for me, I've got a stage show coming up where I worked out in total, if I sell out a small number of people, I'm going to be making over $1,500. In reality, I'm making very little because I'm putting it all into the event, but I know I'm going to make my money with selling my services as an entertainer afterwards. But that is a podcast probably for another time, my friends.
I think so. I think you just opened the doors to something that we could definitely talk about.
We had some people listening. I know one is going to be called Josh. He's going to be like, oh my gosh, I know how to sell tickets. I know how to make money off gigs off the back of this. Oh, you can't end the episode here. What have you done?
Fantastic.
Stay tuned for that if you wanna hear more at some point in the near future.
100%. I think what's really important to a final thought to wrap on is if you really want to do some stage shows, the big approach, the mindset that I've adopted and learned from a lot of the people that are doing these stage shows is to treat them like a marathon, not a sprint. It might feel immediately compelling right now to sell out a 30-seat room or show, theatre, whatever venue it is. It might feel compelling now to do that, but it's going to make your job. It could make your job a little harder the next month and the month after that. And keeping consistent is more important than being able to have an immediate quick win. So treating your shows like a marathon more than a sprint, I think you're going to see more tickets sold over the long haul, more demand, more urgency. Everything will just be elevated.
Tortoise in the hare, slow and steady wins the race. I think that's the message.
I love that. Be more tortoise.
Hashtag tortoise, let's get that trending. At The Successful Mentalist, #Tortoise on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. With that said, any final wise words from the Mindset Google? Wow, Mindset. Oh, we've got to end now. Aidan, take over. My words have become waffle.
Oh dear. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll catch you very, very soon in the next episode of the TSM podcast.
Cheerio, tata, kebab. My words are waffle, mate. What have I done? See you guys.
See you soon.